Civil Air Patrol, right?
Yes.
What's your position in Civil Air Patrol?
Squadron commander.
What squadron?
Alabama 024.
And that's the Tuscaloosa
Yes, composite squadron.
And what's your rank?
Major.
When did you join?
I think it was, yeah, I gotta think about this. I think it was 2008, 7 or 8.
Where were you living at the time?
Here in Tuscaloosa, and close to where I'm living now, but just kind of across the woods from where I'm living now, but here in Tuscaloosa.
And why did you join?
I joined out of curiosity, actually. After I retired from active duty, I kind of missed being around the airplanes and just kind of missed the action. And was planning on, actually went to airline dispatch school for a little while, which is kind of like similar to what I did in the military. But my wife really didn't want me to leave because I would have had to work in probably a headquarters, like Delta's headquarters in Atlanta. And but anyway, I just happened to be out here at the airport and saw some people in Air Force uniforms doing a meeting. And I was just looking, and Colonel Lusk, but captain at the time, saw me, and he invited me in. And I sat in, and he introduced himself, and I liked what I saw. And so that filled my void to get back in with the, aerospace. And so I joined and hadn't looked back.
And you work with the cadets a lot, don't you?
Yes.
And just for those who don't know what Civil Air Patrol is, could you tell us some of what it actually is?
Civil Air Patrol is Air Force Civilian Auxiliary, most notably known for search and rescue, but we also do aerospace education as well as cadet programs.
And how old can cadets be? What's the lowest age?
12.
And where have you been with Civil Air Patrol?
Let's see, where have I been? Birmingham, Anniston, Huntsville, Montgomery, Mobile, and doing our community outreach, Atlanta, Orlando, Florida, and Little Rock, Arkansas. So we kind of stretch way out there. I'm trying to get better, even further out there.
And could you tell me about some of your most memorable experiences?
For Civil Air Patrol, wow, there's been so many. I guess with the aerospace, just sharing that with the community. That brings out the little kid in me. And I'm going to keep that little kid in me. And we built a hovercraft, and the community seemed to respond to that. But with me I'm an artist, so it's like I'm, just doing an artistic project as well as being a kid. And so that's, activity with the community, meeting some more Tuskegee Airmen. Met some when I was on active duty, but met some more out here. And so, Blue Angels, I kind of like that. That's some of my most memorable.
Yeah, I remember the first air show that I came to up here. I had just joined CAP. I think I was only an airman at the time, and I think it was me, Nana Lewis was standing there, and you and my dad were kind of behind us, and my mom was to the side. There was one of the stunt planes going up and doing all these stunts, and I was looking up, and Anna was looking up, and I remember her going, "Wow!" And I remember saying, "That looks so fun!" And I remember turning around, and the look on your face was like, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah, I like watching that, but I have never wanted to do it. You know, when I did some flight training, even on active duty. Um, when we go up and install the plane, I have never liked that. But I have friends who love it. So that kind of just put me up there doing that, and I'm like, yeah, I'll look at you doing it all. So, but it's cool. It makes me feel real good, almost like a parent, um, as well as teacher, mentor. Um, but I think one of the things I like most is to see the cadets respond to it. Because cadets, anything's possible, and I love that. It's up to us to make sure they don't get too far out there, but you never know. Later on down the road, that might be the next big thing. And so I like that, and it lets me let the little kid out of me a little too. So that's the thing I like most. And seeing them grow into adults, that's what I like most. I'm not wearing any of the awards I got from Civil Air Patrol. Just hadn't taken the time to do it, actually. But I have gotten Aerospace Officer of the Year twice, and I think Character Development once. But I need to get those ribbons up there, but I've been a little lazy with that one. All of them, sometimes, because he's real passionate about history, and sometimes when he's giving presentation, both him and Ace actually, and I'll be trying to get their attention because they're going over the time.
And Ace is his brother?
Yeah, and so I'll do make some old crazy move in there. I thought it was funny the way he looked at me, but not really. Other than that, you know, not that I can think of at the moment. Now, when I leave here, I'll probably think of everything. But
And where are Amos and Asa now?
and basic training for the Coast Guard, and so I know what they're going through now. It's probably a big shell shock for now, but I have no doubt they're going to be fine though. It's a continuation of it. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. Um, when I went in, Civil Air Patrol is the second component of the Air Force that I've been in. I was also in the reserves, and so I left there, went on active duty, left active duty, came to Civil Air Patrol, and so it's a completion for me. It's like I'm supposed to be here, and I think there's more to come that I haven't seen yet. So, and, well, you was asking about something funny. Now I'm going to talk about myself a little bit now. I think when I was on active duty, I used to see Civil Air Patrol planes all the time. I knew they had something to do with the federal government, but didn't know who they were. And I thought that was kind of funny that I had to retire and come to Tuscaloosa before I actually found out who Civil Air Patrol was. So I'm going to laugh at that.
And I remember what I was going to ask you. So you said that there was a hovercraft that you and the cadets made. Is that still in existence, or
It's still in existence,
is there
and
different versions?
and still growing. We done built, 7, and we got 8 and 9 under construction. Number 9 is a big one, but as big as this, but probably bigger than the States.
Cool.
So yeah, it's still growing.
And the cadets now are, I hear, working on a wind tunnel, right?
They are, and I think that's going to be a first for Civil Air Patrol, to my knowledge. And one of the things about me, and I got this from my dad. He's bold. He like, just try it, see what it'll do. And so I kind of like that for the squadron. If y'all don't do it, we'll do it. It's kind of one of those attitudes. So I'm anxious to see where we go with that wind tunnel. And I'll be one of the first to put a model in there to see what it does. So,
And are you the lead on the wind tunnel, or who's the lead?
I kind of threw it out there, but actually Lieutenant Collette Cameron is. So he's got that covered.
What branch of the military were you in?
U.S. Air Force.
And when did you join?
83, April of 83. Really telling my age yet.
Do you remember the day that you joined?
Not the I think it was April 16th. I want to say April 16th. Don't quote me on that one, but I think it's the 16th is when I joined.
What did it feel like?
With me, I was still scared. Uh, I was scared of the military from the time I was in high school. If you said military, I took off running. But thanks to the University of Montevallo, my roommate was in ROTC there. And I was always interested in flying, have never flown. Used to go to the Atlanta airport and sit there and watch planes take off, but have never flown. But my roommate went down to, I think it was Eglin, on a field trip from Montevallo. And he came back just hyped up saying, oh, wow, what these planes did. And I just got, wow, I'm still scared of it. And then the Student Union building had a sign, a little thing there that said, join the reserve. And I did. And that's what got me in there.
Cool. And I've heard you say before that before you joined the Air Force, you had a, what was it, an afro?
A big afro. Yeah. I don't know if you know who the Jackson 5 is, before Michael Jackson was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of those big weeping willow tree looking.
That's hard to imagine you with one.
Yeah, yeah, I could look over here and see my hair. That's how big it was.
Wow.
Or look up and you'd see the. Yeah, I had the afro, the braids. Can you imagine me with braids?
No.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I had braids. At Montevallo, before I went to basic, I had the Billy D. Williams look. My hair just went back. It was just laying down. I thought I was stuck. Half, I did 22 years, but half that was in the Pacific. Guam, I did 2 years in Guam. I mean, 2 tours in Guam. I was also in Korea, Okinawa, and mainland Japan. And in between that, I was briefly on Wake, out in Atenia, and places like that. Chuuk, Ponape, Kajre, and places like that. So I spent half that time in the Pacific. Actually, when I was stationed in Guam the first time, that's when Desert Storm kicked off. And I didn't think they were going to bother us, but, everybody went on alert. And I remember them, telling, we had our duffel bag already packed. And I remember them telling me it was on I think it was on a Saturday, and said, be ready to get on the plane Monday. And that did it. After I went over there the first time, I went back over there 2 more times. So I've been to the Middle East 3 times.
What was it like when you arrived?
It was kind of scary because, well, we were really tired when we first got there because when I left Guam, if we'd have continued westward, we probably could have been there, in less than 10 hours. But we went back east. So we went from Guam to Hawaii, from Hawaii to California, California to New Jersey, New Jersey to Spain, Spain to Dhahran. Then we went to Riyadh, then to Thumray, then I went to Masira, Oman, and that was just jumping. So, and we was in the middle of Ramadan when we got over there, so you're already tired, but when that horn went off and you heard all this Arabic, I didn't know what was getting ready to happen. So it was kind of scary at first.
Is there anything that you ever did for good luck?
I don't know if I would call it good luck, but I just kept myself busy. I did a lot of reading over there and writing letters to people I didn't know, because when we go to the chow hall, we have big boxes of nothing, just letters addressed to any serviceman that's in the desert. And we usually just grab a handful of them and just go back to the tent and just write. So that was kind of my good luck thing. Now, I also started reading. I used to never read. And my first book, believe it or not, was a romance novel. Hollywood romance novels. You ever heard of those?
Can't say that I have.
Well, you're first. A lot of girls that I was in school with went through those things like it was water. And I saw some of those books over there. I'm like, well, I ain't got nothing else to do. Let me read read one book, it was interesting, read another one. I went through I don't know how many romance novels over there, to the point they was almost the same story, just a different name. So from there I branched out, and I haven't stopped. Even since I've been here in Tuscaloosa, I go through books like it's no tomorrow. So that did it.
With Hallmark?
What's that?
Hallmark?
I haven't read Hallmark yet, but some of everybody else. But probably will eventually get there too, because I get done with one and I'm like, oh, what's the next book I'm gonna get? So it's pretty cool. We built the cargo, prepared it to put on an airplane, um, do the special handling or the hazmat portion of it, did the manifest, and everything in between that. I eventually got a place called ATOC, which is the nerve center, kind of like airline dispatch. I mean, everything kind of focused through there. Very few people can handle ATOC. You got to really have your head straight to work up there. When I was at Charleston, to see if you could handle that, they used to just put you on an inbound desk on Friday. If you could handle that, you could handle ATOC, because those planes just it'll drive you crazy. I also taught hazmat at Langley. So that's been in running the air terminals. When I retired, I was superintendent of air terminal operations out of Colorado. So I ran that whole outfit out there.
While you were outside of the U.S., how did you stay in touch with your family?
Before we really got as big as we are now with cell phones and internet, those letters. But we kind of merged into that. And so internet and cell phones. When I was in Japan, the only phone I had was a cell phone. I lived off base there. And the whole 2 years, just a cell phone. And I could call back to the United States. We also called back on they call it a DSN line now, but you used to call it Autobahn. It's a military network. Sometime I would, like in Guam, the first time I would call back to say Maxwell and let the operator there make a phone call to, whoever. And it would be like I made a local call from Guam. So that's how I kept in touch with them.
And this is going to sound like a stupid question, but I know that phones back then weren't nearly as small as they are now.
Right.
So could you show me about how big it was?
It was about like that, really. Yeah, just it was, and then they got like that, and then they just kept shrinking. Oddly, the little cell phone I had in Japan was a little bitty thing. It actually looked like a toy, but it was tough, by Docomo. Like we got AT&T, Sprint, Docomo, and J-Phone is the two big ones over there. And but yeah, I remember when I just had a beeper, a military beeper, and it was, about like that. And I also remember a field phone. It was real big. It was about like that, so yeah, I've watched that change. I remember one that I did when I was stationed in D.C. I ran that air terminal. If y'all ever watched that movie Clear and Present Danger, have you ever seen that? You remember the scene when, yeah, you're having to go back and watch it now. But you probably remember the scene when the caskets were coming off a gray airplane, and I used to run that terminal. And they're walking Harrison Ford, and everybody's walking toward that. But running that air terminal, I'm the boss, so I do some stuff, just to mess with people sometimes. And we have, like in the airport, showing your flights, kind of scrolls. And I remember one day I had this older veteran. He was a short guy, had some big old thick glasses. And he was up there just doing this right here. And so I controlled it. Well, my troop was supposed to do it. I said, move out of the way, let me have this. And I speeded that thing up big time. And it just went, and I watched him sit there like, so I thought that was pretty cute. That was mean too. But, that's one of the pranks that I've done. Now, I remember one that was done on me in Japan. I'm laid back as long as everything is being done. You know, you won't have much out of me. But I want everybody to do their work and, you know, stay in compliance. Well, we was in Japan, and we was actually having a going away party for one of my sergeants. And there was a Popeye's chicken on the base. And, and so myself and some other guys, we went to get some chicken. And some of my little hard-head troops, they stayed back. You know, we was partying and doing whatever. Well, Japan got this little cigarette called beaties. Little bitty cigarettes, kind of brown, but it smelled just like marijuana. And they pulled this trick on me. They said, yeah, Sergeant Steve is going to go off. And so they did it on purpose to mess with me. So when we came back with the chicken, I walked in the door and I smelled marijuana. And I went off and I was like, what's going on here? And one of my troops said, oh, it's all cool, we good, you know, just like that. That pissed me off even worse because he was getting cool with me. And I just went off, and turned out it was a legal cigarette, but it smelled just like marijuana. But they knew I was going to go off. So that's one of the pranks that they pulled on me over there.
And what was your rank in the Air Force?
I retired as a Master Sergeant E7. I actually came to Tuscaloosa, and I was here 3 months. I was officially still on active duty, but I was on terminal leave, and I had already relieved myself from duty. And so I had a tech sergeant, you're in charge, and if a war don't start, don't call me, you know, and left it at that. So kind of, I remember kind of, my official day was 1 November of '05. So I was relieved 3 months prior to that. Well, they broke me from laughing in basic because my mom had already taught me how to iron. And so, you're scared, but at some point, you know, you around all these guys from all over the world. So you kind of got a little pecking order. You know, I'm not going to be the last one, you know, so to speak. And, and the TI, you know, they would get up on you and start, you know, just yelling at you and saying some choice words. And I thought it was funny when they was getting on to somebody else. And being that my name was with an S, I was used at the back. So I was back there kind of, you know, like this, until the TI heard it. Oh, heroes, are you funny? And went back there and just started ripping me a good one. And, you know, it was embarrassing, but I was scared of this guy, too. I mean, he looked like a little Smokey the Bear looking thing. And had that little hat right here, just ripping me to pieces. I learned how to be serious then. You just kind of tune it out. But that's what broke me from laughing at people. So I thought it's funny now. I also had a chief. Do you remember Reedy?
Yes, sir.
We were both at Charleston together. We didn't know each other at the time.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
Oh, he's cool. He's cool. But the way me and him met each other as being in Charleston, we was talking one day, and there was a chief up there, Chief Dale Cozart. Now, Chief Cozart made chief in 13 years. That's unheard of in the Air Force. And he was young. And when I was there working ATOC, now working ATOC, I was good at my job, but it kind of gives you a little attitude too because you got all this control of this whole airfield. So you kind of walk around with your chest out. But I've heard stories about Chief Cozart. Everybody's scared of him. Officers were scared of him because he had a photographic memory and he was very smart. And he was a qualified loadmaster also. So one morning, we was launching some 141s to Pope. And 21st Air Force called down, wanted us to hold that airplane because they had some high priority, or basically a box they had to get on it. And so I was out running a ramp, so when I got on the airplane, I usually go to the head loadmaster or the aircraft commander. And so there was a whole bunch of them. It was an empty airplane. And they said, oh, the head loadmaster's back there on the ramp. And he was just back there just propped up, just chilling. And so I went back there, chest stuck out, still, you know, just doing my job. And he interrupted me while I was talking. And I already had a little attitude. So I told him, if you be quiet and listen to me, I'm about to tell you what you, and boy, what did I say that for? That joker jumped up and put that name patch right here, and I saw Chief Dale Cozart. I almost had to change my pants then. And of course, I knew to pump, calm down and just listen, and he ripped me a good one. And so, but later on, he retired and got a job right under the squadron commander as a civilian. And we became good friends, obviously. But Reedy knows him. And so that's how me and him got to be good friends, because of Chief Cozart. Yeah, I know Chief. No, yeah, I know it too. So,
And for those people who don't know who Major Reedy is, could you tell us who he is?
ain't he what, Coleman up there? And I forgot what squad. I know he's one of those.
Gaston, but I'm
Gaston.
not positive.
Yeah, I knew it was one of those squadrons up there. He was in aerospace, is where him and I got to talking, because I think wasn't he a flight engineer or something? He had something to do with the airplanes when he was on active duty too. Is kind of the way and then we got to talking about the hovercraft, so we just kind of bonded. And then he found out I was at Charleston. We really bonded. So.
And is he in Civil Air Patrol?
He is in Civil Air Patrol, yes.
Okay. And what did you do as a career after your service ended?
I was lost a little bit for a little while. I moved here because my wife is from this area, so I was kind of like a fish out of water for a little while. I was kind of all over the place. I worked for Sears as a sales associate. Um, worked for the university as a security officer over there, but still trying to get my way back into aerospace. And while I was at the university, I took a leap of absence and went down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to do airline dispatch training. And then no, I don't think I want to do this either. Came back, which turned out to be a good thing, because shortly after that, the economy hit rock bottom. And guess who would have been the first one to leave? Sorry, Rod, you out of here. So it just kind of worked out. But yeah, I was a little lost when I first came here.
And how has your time in the Air Force affected your life?
It's one of the best things that I've done, considering I had no intentions of coming in. But I think in a divine way, a path was laid out for me, and it worked out. I think it's one of the best things I've done in life.
And has your military experiences influenced your thinking about war or about the military in general?
It does. Not only the military, but just government, people in general, um, politics. Now, I'm not a politician, but I do pay attention to it, and I have an opinion of it. Um, so yeah, being in the military kind of let me know we're just another link in this long chain. So I think it's a very good, prestigious, organization to get into. But it also lets you know the freedom in this country is nowhere near free. And I take it very serious. So yes, it's greatly influenced that. Also family. During the war, I thought a lot about my daughter, my wife, my mom, my siblings. You do a little soul searching over there for that, because a scud could come through, and in a split second, I don't exist. So you think about that. So I don't take life for granted because of that. I left Atlanta, first time flying in an airplane, but I was always fascinated with airplanes, studied about how they fly, but I have never been on one. So when I got on the airplane, it was an Eastern airline, and Eastern doesn't exist anymore. But it was an Eastern airline, DC-9. And I'm on the window seat, and there was an older lady sitting right next to me. And I'm sitting with my designer jeans on, tight shirt, thought I was all that. But when that plane took off, that was the first time I felt that kind of sudden rush of acceleration. And when you rotate it, and I've seen the ground just doing this, just leaving very rapidly, my knees, legs start shaking. And I'm still looking out there, but I guess must have been looking crazy because the older lady next to me, she rushed over and said, "This your first time, young man?" And, you know, and I'm still trying to put on this macho thing. But, you know, I'm dropping my head, "Yeah, man." And she assured me, you know, everything is good. You know, I've flown all over the world, blah, 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 blah. Of course, you know. And I didn't think, wasn't scared or nothing like that. It was just freaky, you know, to me, that kind of acceleration. And, but anyway, we got to San Antonio and it was late. The Air Force met us there, and there was guys from all over the United States there, and they was there to pick us all up. And they was talking to us, you know, the Air Force is good, blah, blah, blah. Until that bus went through that gate at Lackland. And they turned into monsters then and started yelling and saying all kind of weird words that it shocked everybody. And everybody, I mean, we got so quiet in there you could hear a pin drop because we didn't know what to think. And I think they did it on purpose, you know, because later on, once we got into basic, you know, they're still yelling at you and you still can't think straight. Um, but, um, but I remember getting back to us going through that gate, you know, we was quiet and I like, what have I just got into? And we went to the chow hall. Now we've been flying all day and tired and wondering if we just made a mistake coming in the military. We got to the chow hall. The food looked good, and they tell us how to eat. Couldn't talk. And I think I maybe ate maybe 3 spoons or something, and then the TI said, "All right, get up and get out of here." And I felt like degraded, you know, because I'm hungry, scared, but I didn't even have a chance to eat either. But that was by design. So I learned to eat fast, you know. But, you know, going through basic training, they put a lot on you at one time, real quick. And I think that's to get you to listen. And so that was one of my experiences there. But I remember writing my mom telling her, "I don't think I'm going to make it out of here because this is impossible. And these people are not human." And I remember, I'm going to see if she still got that letter. Um, but, you know, after a while, you get through it and you feel different. You know, you ain't got nothing on your sleeves, but but you feel different. You know you done did something different. You're different than you were when you came in. And so it was a good experience. I think that's a good experience for everybody to go through.
And you said a few minutes ago that there were some people that actually went crazy.
Yes, we had 2 of them that just cracked up, just went just crazy. And and you know, we sitting there don't know what's going on, but it is a lot of pressure on you. And they actually had to go to Wilford Hall, which is the hospital there in Lackland. And they kept them there for about a week. And then I remember when they came back to our flight, because they were getting ready to ship them on another airplane out of there. But they just came, you know, to say bye. And we felt bad, you know, because now you're starting to feel like that's your brother. And, you know, you don't want to leave nobody. And you know, it was one of those bonding type things. And but yeah, we had 2 of them who went crazy, and we had one of them got recycled too. He wasn't crazy, but he got recycled and had to do some of it over again. Seen some stuff, you know, planes that have crashed, pilots that have burned up in there, um, shipping HRs, human remains, back to the you know, U.S. I don't know, when you're in uniform, you can kind of blot it out for some reason, if that makes any sense. Seems like I can blot it out more if I'm in uniform. You can just kind of say, "This is a job." So I don't like seeing blood. I'll be the first to tell you that. I don't. But you can put up with it more when I'm in uniform for some reason.
What advice do you have for future generations?
Um, I would say make your life count. I think everybody's got gifts. I think everybody's got value. Unfortunately, I think most people will never figure out what that is. think that's a problem. But, you know, go out there and make a difference. I like what my dad told me. Go out there and be part of that world in a good way.
And is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I'm nervous. um, I am shy by nature, but if y'all didn't notice that. But sometimes I can blot that out too. But the only other thing is it's a privilege to, you know, share that with you. And it's a lot more, but my mind is going blank right now. I started bringing some pictures in here. But you know, but my mind's kind of going blank right now. But I'm honored for this interview.